Hello, I'm Julia Hankins. I'm the founder of Wellbeing Adventurers and a children's wellbeing specialist. I also support other kids yoga teachers to just feel more confident in what it is that they bring into the world so that they can share their unique gifts with the world and change children's well-being and make lifelong impacts on many children's lives. And so today I wanted to share with you my annual review process. So this is something that I actually do seasonally. I really love to work with the wheel of the year, and being seasonal is very important to me. So I'm very, very lucky that I actually have a very close friend who also does this too. And we meet up at the two solstices, so the winter solstice and the summer solstice. And we also meet at the spring equinox and the autumn equinox. And we do a little review of life, business, everything, and talk about what's working, what's not working. And we go through a document to support us in our own businesses, because we're both self-employed people in the wellness world. And it's a really, really special time for me when I do this, because it helps me to really reflect on not only my business and what is working well and what's not working well, but also just my life, what's happening in my life. And because really I created my business to fit around my life. And I'm a neurodivergent mother of two neurodivergent children. And yeah, really the reason why I created my business was to fit around life. And so for me, these pause points, these reflection times are really, really useful for me to just see what's going down, what's working, what isn't. And yeah, it's really helps me to keep on track with and helps me stay aligned with my own personal values. Sometimes at these reviews I notice that I just have realizations that I hadn't realized before. I end up changing my focus or pivoting completely because I realize that something that I'm doing is not fitting in with something in my life, either personally or it's just not aligning, it's just not working anymore. And so these pause points throughout the year are really useful opportunity for me to reflect on that. And I personally think that they help my mental health massively. And I don't end up going on a really, really long journey down doing something and then realize that it's not the right thing for me. So I thought I would just share this process with you because it's useful for me. And I thought, well, if it's helpful for me, it might be helpful for other people too. And it really fits with me a lot more than the usual business quarterly review type thing. And so today I just wanted to share with you that document. Yeah, in case it works for you. So you just simply click on the link that I'm going to include in the video comments and or the video description, and then you can make a copy of the document and you can adapt it to suit your own needs. Take what resonates and just leave the rest if it doesn't work for you. Although this is something that I do at annually at Winter Solstice. This is if you don't work with the wheel of the year and this feels a bit weird to you, then it's a really good thing to do at the end of the calendar year before we move into the next calendar year. So I'm going to just now read through I read through the questions, but you can download it completely and adapt it and change it to suit you. So yeah, check out the download. I'm going to click now and read through the questions. So you can write directly onto the document or in a journal. Or you could just think about it. You could just listen along and just think about the questions if writing isn't really for you. What I personally do is I write it in a journal and then I chat it through with my friend who I do the reviews with, and then I add like bullet points onto the actual document so that I can easily refer back to it at a later date. So for me personally, writing it in my journal is important, an important part of the process. It's really important that you make the process your own so that it works for you. Everybody works differently, everybody's brain works differently, so feel free to edit it, make it make it work for you and your business. So the first thing I do is write down this year's metrics. So what I mean by metrics are basically numbers and things that you can measure. They're basically things that you can measure. And so I do that normally a couple of days before the actual review. And that's because sometimes I get a little bit caught up on the metrics, and sometimes I get a little bit guilt and shamey if they aren't what I hope they would be, or I can go down a little spiral and realize that something isn't going the way I wanted it to be, or perhaps it just takes me longer than I think it is to collect the data. So the data that I could collect, there's a little table that's included on the document. So the data that I personally collect is stuff about how frequently I'm feeling my desired feelings. This is from a book called The Desire Map, which is written by Danielle Laporte. And that's all about like living in line with your values and what it is, what your desired feelings are. So I try and grade those, like how often am I feeling those particular feelings, which is a metric that I measure. I also write down how many people are on my mailing list, how many number of followers I've got on different social media platforms, how many people I've got in my social media groups, and also a financial metric. So that could be whatever works for you. It could be, how much you're earning a month, although that doesn't really work for me. How much you've earned in a quarter, or some sort of financial thing, if that's what you're measuring, if that's important to you. So I do that bit first a few days before filling out the rest of it, so that I've got it to refer back to and to inform all of the other things that are on my form. So then so there's basically three main parts of the process. There's reflections, projections, and actions. So reflections, for me personally, I reflect on my whole life. I don't separate personal and business here, as the two are so intertwined. As I said already, I created my business to fit around my personal and home life. So I include all information here about my life in general. It's totally up to you if that's how you want to work. Everybody's different. So the first question is, what have you been most proud of in this period? So just really take some time to bask in what it is that you're proud of. I don't think that we celebrate enough. I definitely don't. It can be easy to just zoom on to the next thing without really taking time to acknowledge what you've done that's really good. And this is a really time to feel those successes, whether they're big or whether they're small. What things have happened? What have you done that you're really proud of this period? So it could be that you're looking back on a year, or it could be that you're looking back on a season, a quarter, however you want to do it. And then the next question is, what have been the biggest lessons this year? So what have you learned about yourself or about your business, or what works or what doesn't? Are there any changes or improvements or pivots that you want to make? What big lessons have you had this year? The next question I have is, did you achieve your goals? So if you didn't set any goals, that's totally fine. It took me a little while to get into the habit of setting goals. And then it took me even longer to figure out what sort of goals were appropriate and what ones weren't. So don't shame yourself here. It's just a simple, neutral reflection on whether you've set any goals. If you did you achieve them? How did it make you feel? If not, what were the barriers, and did anything change? The next question is, in which feelings, events, activities have you experienced your desired feelings? So again, this is referring to the Desire Map by Danielle Laporte, and desired feelings is all about that, something that I include in my seasonal reflections. But you might choose a word of the year, or like if you had something that you've been working to personally. So or you could just delete that question if it doesn't resonate with you. So when have you experienced your desired feelings, whatever those were? And so then when I've done all of that, I move on to projections, which is kind of how things are now, what things look like. So what is your business's overarching vision, and does this still feel relevant, and would you make any changes? So do you already have a vision for your business? If not, is it something that you'd like to spend some time on? And if so, can you set a date on your calendar when you can do this? So do you have one main overarching thing that you're hoping to achieve in your business? Most of us who are doing this kind of thing have this real sense of meaning and a real driver of why we do what we do. And so what is your overarching thing? What's the change that you want to make? And does it still feel relevant to you? So the next question is, how does your business achieve its vision, and what is the model? So that means what does it look like? How does your business look? Do you have weekly classes? Do you have special events? Do you do workshops, online work? Do you work in schools? Do you do any work for other businesses? And how do you currently meet your vision, and how are you meeting that goal, that big overarching goal of your business? And the next question is, what remains unclear about your business, your vision, your model, your structure? So is there anything that you'd like to change? Is there anything that doesn't make sense anymore? Is there anything that you're just not really sure works? Do you have any questions about how something is currently running? So anything that's just kind of not sure, you're confused about, pop it there. And then the next question ties in with this one, which is, how might you clarify things? So what feels messy or sticky? What are you confused about? What do you need to get clear on? So sometimes I'll, in my review, come to this point and be like, oh yeah, actually, I've got no idea what I'm doing with this. I started it, but I didn't finish it. Or I'm running this class and it doesn't really work. Or and actually, that's a point you might find there's another video and another freebie that you can download called Really Useful Reflections. And that's more tailored towards specific classes. So maybe check that out, and that will help you to reflect on which of your classes or your services that you're offering, how they're all working together. So that might be something that you find useful to accompany this, that you might like to do either before or after, or even during this process. So the next question is, what goal or goals do you have for your business and life for 1 year's time? So your personal goal, your financial goal, your professional goal, whatever feels right for you, whatever is your version of success. Maybe you're wanting a 6-figure business. Maybe that's you. It's not really me, but maybe that's you. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe you want more time with your family. Maybe you have some particular family issues going on, and maybe your goal is to be able to have more time freedom to be able to do that. Or maybe there's a professional achievement that you'd like to make in a year's time, something that you're working towards that you'd like to really gain. So what's your goal for a year's time? And then the next one, what goals will you set for this season or this quarter? So don't overthink these goals. The reflection is just the most important thing. So don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about getting the perfect goal, because quite often what I find is when I come back to review them, I'm like, oh, I didn't do that, or that wasn't I started to do that, but actually I realized that it's not really the right time for that, or I've completely changed my mind, I don't want to do that anymore. And that's totally fine. What's important is that you're spending some time reflecting, not that you're setting goals and meeting those exact goals. That's not the key thing. So when you've set your annual goals, what are your seasonal goals that will help you meet that annual goal? And then the last section is actions. So this is all about what you actually need to do. So what actions or shifts or mindset will support you in achieving your goal for a year's time? So think about if there's anything that you need to put in place to meet your goals. Is your current mindset supportive of these goals? So for example, going back to the money one, just for example, if you did want to have a six-figure business, but you really don't believe that you're worthy of that money, then your mindset is not going to support your outcome, for example. So what things do you need to change? What actions do you need to take to help you to meet those goals? And then the next one is, what actions will you take to achieve your quarterly goals? So what do you need to do to meet those, like seasonal goals? What things? So we're kind of breaking down those bigger goals here. And then even before that, what milestones, what short-term markers do you need to meet in order to meet the long-term goals? So what are the things that you need to put in place to meet the bigger goals? So what smaller achievement will help you here? And then importantly, how will you celebrate your wins when you have these successes, these small successes? How are you going to celebrate those? How will you acknowledge them? And so it could be that you're going to take a day and do something really special just for you, or you're going to go on a retreat somewhere, or it could be that you're going to meet a friend and do a craft workshop, or it could be that you're going to buy yourself something that's important to you. So how are you going to celebrate? Because it's really important that we do celebrate in our own businesses. Otherwise we just go from one thing to another without acknowledging the changes that we're making. So the next question is, what support or skills or new learning will you need to help you in achieving these goals? So is there someone that can help you? Do you need some mentoring? Do you need to take a course about a specific thing? Perhaps you need some accountability, or perhaps you need some practical just help. What do you need to help you achieve the goals? Another question is, what barriers might get in the way and how might you overcome these? So these may be barriers that you can't change. For example, you might not actually have much time. That might be a barrier, but how could you overcome that? So how could you maximize the time that you do have available? Is there anything that you want to let go of? Is there anything that you've been doing that just doesn't resonate with you anymore? Are there any conversations that need to happen with people in your life so that they can support you some more, or so that you can meet certain things? And do you need any practical support? Do you need someone to help you to do anything? And so this is your personal invitation to get in touch with me. If you feel like you'd need some support in any of this and you don't know, even maybe you don't know where to begin and you actually just need some support in setting some goals, or maybe you just need to talk this through with somebody, feel free to book an appointment with me. I'll include the links on this video for you, or just email me and we can arrange a time to meet. Or if you're not at a point where you can invest financially in that way, then make sure that you're in the Facebook group School Yoga Teachers. Make sure that you're on my newsletter, and then you get lots of free support from me anyway. But if you would like me to support you in this year, to help you to make your business aligned and suit you as a person. I'm going to take my glasses off because I'm not reading anymore. If you would like someone to just support you in creating the business that fits around your life and that works for you, then get in touch if you feel like I'm the person that might be able to help you with that. Okay, so that's all for now. Make sure that you download the little review questions if you found that helpful. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are here. Make sure that you like and subscribe and click the bell, and then you'll hear about any other videos that I release.